Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our live webinar on Class Workpapers powered by Cloudoffis. My name's Maike. I'm product manager at Class, and I'm joined here today by Clint Estavilla, who's the head of sales for Cloudoffis.
Hello, everybody.
Got about 200 people now. I think we'll just get straight into it and let people trickle in. So to start out with, I just wanted to run through a bit of an agenda for today and what we'll be covering. So we'll start out with a bit of an intro and housekeeping, and then I'll jump straight into a demo and some FAQs on the Class Workpapers that we released recently. After that, I'll pass over to Clint to take us through sorted professional and enterprise and a bit of a demo. And in the end, we'll finish with some Q&A. To start out with the intro, so I just wanted to give a quick overview of the partnership between Class and Cloudoffis that's been quite long-standing now. So in 2016 is when we all kicked off and started a partnership around the audit automation product. In 2019, Cloudoffis then expanded into the accounting space and launched SMSF Sorted, again in partnership with Class and well integrated. And then earlier this year, the Sorted product was broken down into professional and enterprise, which is to target customer groups a bit better. And also in 2021, as most of you would know, we've managed to launch an integrated workpaper solution, Cloudoffis Sorted Lite, Class Workpapers, to all our Class users. In terms of who we've got here today, again, we've got Clint, who's the head of sales for Cloudoffis. I'm Maike. And if you've got any questions throughout the webinar, just post them in the Zoom Q&A chat, and we'll get to them at the end. And I'm going to get started now and jump straight into a bit of a demo of the Class Workpapers powered by Cloudoffis. So to give you an overview, I'm going to start by showing you how to activate the feature in Class, and I'm going to cover off how to upload documents, bookmark documents throughout the year and at the end of the year, and then generate the compliance workpaper file. There's two features that will be coming soon that Clint will be talking about a little bit more. We've got the Pro and Enterprise integration, as well as the transfer to auditor functionality, which already exists in Pro and Enterprise. And with that, I'm going to jump out and jump straight into Class. So I've got a business here that already has Cloudoffis Workpapers activated, which we can see with this logo up the top here. But if this business did not have the integration activated yet, you would not see this. So what you would do to activate this is you go into the settings, integration, and you'll scroll down to the bottom, and here you'll find a section about Cloudoffis, and you'll see an activate button. When you click that activate button, it'll take you across to Cloudoffis Sorted, and it'll ask you for an ABN, and it'll ask you to accept the terms and conditions and activate that feature. We do recommend an access controller do that, just to make sure that that person has access to all the funds in their business and the functionality therefore works properly. So after this has been activated, you will now see the Cloudoffis logo up the top here. And once we jump into a fund, you will also see the Cloudoffis logo up the top here. So to get started, you will simply go into the reports, into the live reports and the trial balance, which is where really all the magic happens for this new feature. To start a workpaper file with Cloudoffis, the first thing you'll have to do is upload documents. So in this case, I've prepared a few demo documents that I created myself, but I'm just going to upload these into the workpaper file. Once this has all been successfully uploaded, I can close this screen. And then I can actually start working on it. So what's happening in the background now is that the optical character recognition in Cloudoffis will automatically process all those documents and turn essentially the content of the documents into text that we can search for. So now if we want to go and tag documents, there are two different ways. Throughout the year, where your trial balance amounts won't be finalized yet, what we recommend is that you go through the View Documents functionality. So you'll go into your document management system, and you'll see here that it automatically pulls in 19 class reports, and it'll also show those 4 documents that I just uploaded. Now, to tag any of these, you would simply open it. And we can see it's foreign cash at bank, US dollar account. So I now want to bookmark this to my trial balance item. To do that, I will add the bookmark icon and then find what I want to tag that to. So we've got foreign cash at bank, US dollar account here. I can put any comment in there that I would like to make. And I save that. And now if I close this here and refresh the trial balance, you will see that this document has been tagged. So there's a little paperclip icon at the end of the line item now. When you click on that, you'll be able to jump across and view this document that has been tagged against that particular line item. Now, at the end of the year, you can assume that most of the figures in this trial balance will be up to date. So you might want to walk through top to bottom and make sure that you've got all the documents that you need referenced to each line item. So to do that, you would simply click on the little magnifying glass next to the line item. And by clicking on that, it will search through the document management system in Cloudoffis and bring up any documents that have that word that you just searched for. So in this case, we've searched for accountancy fee, and it'll bring up all the documents that has those words in it. So in this case, I want to select the one that I just uploaded, which has the accountancy fee. And again, same thing, I'll just drop the bookmark icon here. And I say, that's my receipt, or whatever the document may be. I'll save that. And essentially, you would then repeat this process with as many documents as you want. And again, if I refresh, it will now show me the paperclip icon down the bottom here, and I can now access that document from there. So once I've done that for all the documents, sorry, that was actually the wrong one, it's up here. Once I've done that for all the line items that I want to attach supporting documents for, at the year end, I will now go into the period update. I will select the financial year that I have worked on. I will click on Finalize Workpapers. And again, here you can see all the reports that have already been pulled across. You can see, you can go back to the trial balance if you want to double check something, or you can jump into the document management system and view all the documents that you have uploaded. But once you've double checked all this and you're happy with it, you can then generate the end of year file. And given there's a whole lot of PDFs here, that'll take a couple of seconds. But this is really generating that pack that previously you would do in PDFs and Excel and re-reference. And this is just doing this all for you. And even if you, after you've done this, if you have to go back, you can actually regenerate the file and it'll update everything for you. So once we download this file, I'll just open that. Then we need to always unzip the file. And then you can open the PDF. And in this PDF, you will now in this final column see any documents that you have tagged throughout the year. So in this case, you can see against the accountancy fee, I tagged a document against that earlier. If I click on that link, it will bring up that document. So this is your fully referenced file that you can now save against that fund in your system, and you can always go back to for compliance purposes, and all the documents and the trial balance are all kept together in one piece. And this can also be the file that you hand over to your auditor for them to then review everything. Now, there's been a lot of questions in FAQ around why this sometimes does not work. The key thing that we say is use Google Chrome or Adobe Reader and drop it onto your desktop to unzip it and save it there, because there seem to be some issues around saving it on a SharePoint folder or somewhere. If you save it on your desktop and use Adobe or Google Chrome, you will always have functioning links. And that zip file should be able to work for everyone if you do it that way. Now let me jump back into class and show you one more FAQ item. So this relates to the search functionality and bookmarking in the trial balance. Obviously, the way the search works is that it actually searches for the data within the documents. So just because the document might be named something with AMP, if you click on this search icon, it won't necessarily bring up the document that you're looking for. Sometimes you may have to adjust the search word that you're looking for to be able to get the documents that you're finding. But this is a simple search, so really it was just searching for content in the document. And if you remove anything that's being searched, then it'll show you all the documents, and you could select any document you want to work with. Right, so I will jump back into the slideshow. And just summarize. So what we've just shown you is the benefits and features of the class Workpapers powered by Cloudoffis Sorted Lite. There's a document management system that allows you to upload documents in bulk, run the optical character recognition, and build up that folder hierarchy automatically based on the trial balance. It also allows you to collate your Workpaper file and generate that at the year end and send it to the auditor. And it also helps you with automated referencing. Through that OCR, you're able to quickly search for documents that you've uploaded based on what the trial balance in that particular fund has. And soon we'll also have functionality around the one-click transfer to an auditor, as well as the integration of Sorted Professional and Sorted Enterprise into that same portal that class has integrated. And from here, I'll pass over to Clint, and he'll take us through those benefits and features of Cloudoffis Sorted Professional and Enterprise, and why you should upgrade to that.
Thank you very much, Maike. All right, let me just share my screen now. All right, so just to round out where Maike left. So as you would have gathered, we're speaking today about Sorted Lite, which is now free in class. It is a version of our original Sorted Pro, which is a paid version. However, it's just got reduced features, really just focusing on the document side, as Maike showed you. Okay, so the Sorted Professional, also available in Enterprise for larger administrators, really has a whole bunch of extra features around automating your interview processes. There's already been some questions in and around, are there management review features and things like that? That's the kind of extra functionality that's available in the Pro version. So as a summary, in addition to everything that you've seen so far with the document management system built in, the ability to use the technology to search for account names, closing balances, and to generate your file, Pro has also got some AI, well, a new AI module for next-gen accounting. So this is a new feature that we've currently got in beta, where effectively you can upload certain types of PDFs, have them automatically processed, run reconciliations, and then automatically saved to your end of year, really just taking entire steps out of your process, and I can show you that in a moment. You get a separate portal for your workflow where you can invite users, assign staff to certain jobs, okay? And that's really around that management review process that some of you have been asking about already. We've then got some automated work papers. So there seems to be a lot of templated like Excel type worksheets that firms are currently doing, getting the data from class, populating that into an Excel worksheet, whether it be a GST rec or a property or an LRBA interest working sheet or something like that. We've automated some of those. And we've also got 21 observations, which are effectively compliance checks, where we're just checking the status of a whole bunch of compliance issues in the fund. All right, so just going to switch my screen and I'll take you through a demo of Sorted Pro. All right, so what you can see here is the home screen dashboard of Sorted Pro. So you get a workflow summary, okay? So you've got all the various jobs from when they're started, all the way through your internal review until it's completed. For each job, you can come in, you can assign as many staff as you like, or you can create as many staff as you like, I should say, and then this view of your workflow will be custom to what's assigned to each staff member. You can assign a preparer, a manager, and a reviewer to each job. And then further down, we've got a summary of any queries that are assigned to any of the users logged in. So this is, again, a workflow list. So any query that's listed in this section here is currently outstanding. So as soon as that's replied to, that's going to disappear from your workflow. Now, internal queries, anybody, as I mentioned, that you've got listed as a staff member. External queries are any potential Cloudoffis auditors that you might be connected to. So yeah, Cloudoffis has been around for 4 years. We've only had this product around for 2 years. We've got a couple of hundred auditors that are currently using our product. So if you're connected to one of those guys, the connection to your auditor is quite seamless, and then you can handle all your external queries. Okay, so we start in the client list. Really simple matter of just importing data from class. Now, what I'm showing you here is, I guess, how the product has been historically. The current sorted light version in class doesn't yet communicate with your sorted professional version. However, that integration, as Maike mentioned, is coming in the next month or so. So once you've got the data in from class, really simple matter of just creating the job, okay, which is then just determined by the financial year, and then creating your staff that you want assigned to the job. All right, now as soon as that's signed and created, the first thing that happens is exactly the same thing that you saw in class. A folder structure is built out. You get a permanent reports unsorted work paper. And we've also got a recent edition of the audit letters and reports folder for if you've got a Cloudoffis auditor. So permanent, very self-explanatory. You can move permanent docs that will roll over year on year into that section. The reports, class reports. So we input up to 20 class reports and we bookmark them to the relevant areas of the lead schedule. The work paper folder is effectively the chart of accounts. Okay, so each fund is going to have a custom folder structure based on the accounts for that particular fund, and then you've got unsorted. Now, this is going to work exactly the same way as Maike showed you. You could open up a doc and just find where that needs to be bookmarked. Okay, so you can start from the doc. You can also leave comments, and this is the same again in class if you want to just leave comments on the actual PDF. And then the other way, of course, is the same again as class. You can just simply search from the closing balance from the financial screen, which again I'll show you in a moment. Now, this will actually mirror what's in class once we've built that integration. Okay, so I guess the first edition of Sorted Lite isn't suitable for users that are using Pro at the moment. So if you are using Pro at the moment, continue using Pro, and in the next 4 weeks or so, we will integrate the two. And then you can originate a doc in either Sorted or in class, and you'll be able to see your work on either side or on either platform. Okay, so here we've got a fund dashboard. Now, this is a summary of all things to do with this specific fund. So we've got Cloud 5 from 2017. We've got the fund information at the top here. We've got the ability to re-import the data if you ever make any changes into the class accounts. Okay, so you go through a management review, you need to update something, you can simply overwrite and we'll track the changes so you don't lose any of your work. Status gauge, mentioned that before. Who's working on it? So of course you can reassign jobs to different people. You've got a summary of your docs, and then you've got your financial position and operating statement and your observations. So these two areas are where a lot of the automation occurs. So if we start in the financials, it's actually a slightly different view in sorted. We display this by statement of financial position and operating statement rather than trial balance. So similar view though, of course. So look, if you look at the account data on the left here, you can click through and see the general ledger data. We've got a feature here where we can quickly sum up a filtered search. Okay, so if you wanted to figure out how much the rent was for the year, really, really quick and easy. You can also access the full general ledger if you want to do that as well. Otherwise, we've got the quantity, current year, prior year changes. Again, some workflow tools at the job and line by line level. Okay, so if you do have a process where you've got a preparer that's doing the work and then you've got a reviewer coming through as a secondary process, there is space for that to be recorded. Now, over on the right here are where our tools live. So the first little highlight here, these are your documents. Okay, so any doc that you've opened up and bookmarked from the DMS, and again in the future, even from class, you're going to see that bookmark here on that lead schedule item. So if you are getting your docs, bookmarking them on the fly, you're effectively eliminating your entire interview process. The other way, of course, as Maike showed you, is simply to search for the closing balance. I don't have that document here. Let's go up to this one. Search. There we go. All right. So we're finding where that figure 300,000 has appeared. It appeared a few times. Most of those are class reports, as you can see. And then you can see the transaction or the statement wherever you want to bookmark. You can do so there. Difference with class and sorted on this screen is that the class reports come pre-bookmarked to where they belong to. Okay, so in investments, you've got the investment movement summary and the investment summary are already there, bookmarked to that section. If we scroll down and have a look at, for example, the members section, we've got the two member summary and the member statement there as well. All right, so further along, we've got the ability to leave a comment here, and that's just pretty static as a note on the line item. You've also got the ability to raise a query or review point. So again, if you're raising an internal query, you could choose a staff member to communicate with. You could notify somebody else, and then you could just type out your query. Okay, you've also got the option to generate an email notification as well, if it's potentially urgent. And really, it's like a text message layer. You've got sort of conversation on one side and then responding on the other, and then you can go all the way through attaching, sharing docs all the way to until that's resolved. We've also got review points, so a little bit more static again. They don't get delivered to anybody as such. You can just sort of go through and collate as many review points as you need to. And then the reviewer might come along and address them, whether it's no action required, save it as a note for the accountants, or they could actually save it as a note to go over to the auditor. Okay, you've then got the option to include that on your pack, or if it's marked as note to the auditor and you are using the Cloudoffis auditor, they'll automatically get that note sent over to their system. All right. Just finally in here, we've got this little red flag. Okay, so if we scroll through, we've got various red flags throughout. So this actually links to our observations. Our observations, these are the 21 checks that I mentioned earlier. So from the investments line item, we've got a red flag on our market value. So this is basically just done a check against the ASX and IRIS. with the class data, and if there's any discrepancies, we're just flagging that, okay? So again, you've got the ability for your team to mark that as well, who's done the preparation. If everything's okay, they can just mark that as okay. They can put in their rationale into the comment section, and then that'll move out of the warnings and into the good to go pile. Okay, and then on the line item, that's going to be a green flag. So on the dashboard, excuse me, we can actually see the full list of observations in their entirety. So this particular fund, dummy fund, we've got 10 warnings. You'd hope that your fund doesn't have that many. But if they were good to go, we're showing you the data, we're explaining the logic, and we're saying, hey, we've done this check, and it's good to go. Okay, so you've just got the peace of mind that there's 21 checks that are happening on your fund as soon as the data gets into the software. Okay. So here again is some of the examples. We're checking the pension limit. So we're flagging that PDQs is out. Work test, contribution cap, all very standard stuff. Income comparison similar to the market value where we're checking that data against the ASX and IRIS. If there are any contrabank entries found in the bank accounts, and so on. Just going back into the financials and just showing you one final piece of automation from this screen. So we've also got automated workpapers. Okay, so we've got 8 at the moment. Now, again, we basically just took feedback and examples from accountants in the market that have got templated sheets in Excel where they're taking the data from class and producing these for every single fund that they have. So the idea with these is that they are a working process. So we'll take feedback. So out of the 8, if there's certain elements that you think should be enhanced, if there's completely new work papers that you think we should have, we're absolutely open, and we really want to hear that feedback, and we'll get that in the pipeline and get them generated. So the first one here is direct property. Okay, so this is going to be customized depending on if it's an existing, sold, or bought property for that financial year. We've got the data here from class. Some data we can't get from class, like if it's LRBA or not. So you can just enter that there, and then you can enter in some of any other details that you might need to record for your records. We then bring in the income expenses and work out the net property rent for that property. We've then got unlisted investments and in-house assets. So here the logic is to just pull in the unlisted accounts, and then we prompt you to answer 2 questions effectively. So the first one, if it's an entity controlled by a related entity to the super fund, if yes, I'll just tick that one actually because it's got a value. We're going to calculate or add up that value as an in-house asset and then measure that against the 5% benchmark. Okay. Here we're still under the 5% at 0.8, so we've got a little green warning. However, if that was that went over, that's okay. This one's only gone up to 3%. Anyway, if that did go over, there'd be a red warning down the bottom there just to let you know that it's over that marker. The next question is if it's a 1322C unit trust, and if it is, you've got the option to then fill out a market value calculation. Okay, so enter the particulars, market value of net assets, less the total number of shares, and then we're basically just going to compare that. Show you this one. Compare that to the class data. Okay, so at the moment it's got a full difference, but once you've entered in that details, we'll check that for you. Next one is LRBA worksheet. So we prompt you to answer if it's a related party loan. If it is, then you can enter in the loan particulars, okay, from the agreement. Depending on what you enter in here, we're then going to present you the corresponding ATO guidelines, and then we're going to show you the interest as per those 3 figures. So as per the agreement, as to, per the ATO, and then per what's in class. Okay, so we've got the general ledger, the transactions at the bottom there, and then the ability to reconcile those should you choose. We've then got a tax rec. So here we can put in the actual exemption percentage, and then we've just got some default calculations. We work out a whole range of different things over the expenses, all the way through down to net tax payable and amount due or refundable. GST. So this fund's not registered, but if it was, we'd have the data from class in this top section here. You've then got the ability to enter in the activity statement data, and then we've got some auto calculations that will work out variances, differences, closing balances, all that sort of thing. And then just finally, we've got a T-bar calc where you can just enter in your own data and then see what the caps are. You've got the contributions work paper. Okay, so we've also got some following year information here down the bottom. All the way through here as well, if you've got a document assigned in the work papers or in the lead schedule, that's also going to show here. And you can also leave comments all the way through the work papers as well. And then the last one here is pensions. So we've just got the current year and then following year data there. All right. The next thing I'm going to show you is an example of our new AI feature. So this is currently in beta at the moment. I briefly touched on it earlier. So the idea about this is not to simply just help you through and speed up some of the processes that you still do. It's actually starting to do some of the work for you, which is really, really exciting. So the first process that we've got and that we've automated is a reconciliation of wrap accounts. Okay, so this works on the most popular 7 wraps that are out there. So we're going to our DMS, going to unsorted. So we've got some tax statements here as an example. So here's the BT tax statement. So what we can do here now, once they're in the system, all we need to do is hit process. And the idea is this won't just be for apps moving forward. We're working on having this process for bank accounts, ATO docs, ASIC docs, and then into the future, really any other PDF that we can find a really big time saving for. So once the PDF's in, we press go, the entire process is going to take place automatically. So what's happening now is the software is scanning the wrap documents, and it's pulling off the relevant data. Okay, so we've done the first 2 so far. We've got the hub tax statement. So the system's gone and grabbed the relevant tax components off that tax statement. Okay. Then what happens is we've got 4 dedicated observations. So just the same as the ones that I showed you earlier, where we run a reconciliation against the class data for you. Okay, so we've got the data from class over on this side. Over here, we'll have the data from the wrap, what the difference is. Okay, if there is a difference, they're going to be in the warning section. If there isn't a difference, they're going to be over in the good to go section. Okay, so there's 4 of them. There's holding rec, cash, income, and receivables. Okay, once the comparison's done, assuming that everything's good to go, the next thing that the system will do is go and save the relevant docs into the relevant sections into the lead schedule. Okay, so really all you're doing is uploading a doc and pressing go. Okay, so really exciting stuff. So stay tuned for that one as we release more functionality for that particular feature. All right. So look, back to the dashboard of our fund. Now, we've gone through the observations, we've gone through the financials, and we've done all of our referencing. As you go through and tick everything off, you've also got this completion calc as well. Here you've got the ability to now, let's just say, that's been prepared by a staff member. We can mark that as ready for review. Whoever's listed as the review here, so Paul, the partner in this instance, will now get an email to say that this is now ready for his review. Okay. So if we assume that Paul's just logged into a separate portal, any queries that are assigned to Paul will be here waiting for him. he can just go straight into the ready for review queue. He might have half a dozen here that he's got to review that day. Here's his workflow that he needs to address in a list here. Okay, he can go in, have a look, as an example again at the observations that were marked by the user rather than the system. You can go into the financials. It's obviously just the same view as the preparer, but they've just got that additional section to go through. You can just mark off everything in one go if you like at the top there. And that's been 100% reviewed. Okay. So once that's done and everybody's happy, we can now mark that off as completed. And here we've got the ability to submit that to the auditor or generate a sorted file. So I will generate this because it is going to look a little bit different from what you can see in class. While that's updating, we do have an additional feature for those users that have a Cloudoffis auditor. Okay, so we've now integrated the auditor letters and reports into Sorted from our audit platform. So regarding the pre-audit side of things, what you can do is go and generate a report for any of your funds. And what that's going to do is grab the class data and auditor data and auditor template and produce that report. So you can just go and get that without bothering the auditor or waiting for them to come back. Once that's then generated, you've got the ability to get it signed. Okay, so we've just released a DocuSign integration. So you've got the option to go and send that for signature, either by choosing DocuSign. I haven't actually got it configured, but if you did, it's just a couple of clicks and just answer in the required details, and then that will be sent out using your own DocuSign account. Okay, so you do need your own DocuSign account. Or you can simply just email it. You can email it to yourself, or you can email it directly out to where it needs to go. Totally up to you. Okay, so you've got a couple of options there. Once that's come back, if it's come back via DocuSign, it's going to be marked as signed automatically for you. Alternatively, for the other unsigned, you can just upload the signed report if you've got them back another way. That'll then change the status to signed. Once it is signed, you've also got then the option to share it back to your auditor. Okay, just one click. So there's a nice little workflow insofar as the pre-letter engagements, as well as the audit reports that you get at the end of the engagement there as well. All right, so let's just go and download that pack. So you've got the tag documents. It works exactly the same way as you saw in class. You've got a zip folder with all the bookmark docs, and then you've got a view of all the data. So there's a few extra features in here. You can see the queries, you can see the review points, you can see documents in a slightly different view. You've got access to your observations, the full general ledger, and then any other additional docs or permanent docs that are in there as well. But that's it, guys. We might just head back to the slide deck and start answering some questions.
Yes, we've tried to answer a few questions along the way already. I think there's a couple for you still, Clint, but one question that I already answered, if you could go back to that previous slide. This one here. So I had one question. I can't see the activate button at the business level. Why is that? So if you could get in touch with us through either this website or directly to account management at class.com.au, then we'll get in touch and make sure that we can get that activated for you, for your business, so that you can start using that. So that's that piece. in terms of questions, shall we have a look? So the latest questions were, does Sorted Light have a dashboard for workflow? So the answer is no, there's no dashboard for workflow. There are a couple of dashboards. Clint, if you just let me jump into my screen for a second, then I can show that. So here at a business level, we do have a dashboard that allows you to view all the jobs that have been created for your fund. So in this case, for this particular business, these 3 jobs are in progress. You'll be able to see when the file was created, and you'll be able to see which year that file is in progress for. So you can probably build a few workflows around that. But the real workflow piece around jobs by status is a feature of the Pro and Enterprise versions.
Henry asked a question around the wrap portfolio.
Yeah.
If you can read hard copy statements or just the digital ones. So just the same as every other doc that goes into the system, as Maike mentioned at the start as well, we do process OCR, which means even if you've got a scanned copy of the doc, once it's OCR'd, we will be able to read it. Okay, so that's not just for the wrap statements or any of the AI products, but any kind of referencing.
So there was a question around, is there a free trial for the Pro version? There was a similar question earlier. I think that is something that we are exploring. So if there's demand, then that's something we are definitely looking into.
So just reach out to us at sales@cloudoffis.com.au or myself at clint@cloudoffis.com.au, and we can talk about a trial or anything else like that moving forward.
There's another question for you, Clint. Can you upload docs directly from FYI?
No, but we would be open to an integration with, we have integrations into document management systems, not currently FYI. It has been asked about quite a few times actually. So yeah, we'd certainly be open to an integration. Our attitude is very much around not having to replace everything. You know, if you need something else, if you've got other business units that use a system that's across the board, we'd love to be able to integrate into that, whether it's workflow or documents. So that's certainly something that we'll aim for probably next year now at this stage, but definitely something that we want to get to.
A few more questions for you here, Clint. So how do we find out what auditors are linked with SMSF Sorted Pro?
Good question. So yeah, we can certainly help out with that. Out of the ones on the class marketplace, I think there's a couple of them there. But just reach out to us. Yeah, we don't publish who they are anywhere, but we can certainly help you out identifying. There is about a couple of hundred of them. Quite a few of them out there.
Yeah, as Clint said, we do have a couple of auditors on the class auditor marketplace that use Cloudoffis Sorted. So later in the year, once that full end-to-end integration is available, that'll really be a very efficient solution for you there. What's the difference between Cloudoffis SMSF Sorted and Audit Automation?
So Audit Automation is specifically built for auditors. So I guess the functionality could be probably viewed as quite similar insofar as the workflow and the document automations. But it's just centered around the checklist and things like that. So we've got one product geared to accountants and automating their processes, and then one geared to auditors. And then they connect into each other. So, if one's doing a piece of work, then the other doesn't have to do it to, reduce that replication of work.
So there's a couple of questions around the zip file and the documents that are referenced within that. So first question is, when we save the documents in the system, do we need to save the zip folder and we need to download, zip, extract, and review? So yes, you need to download the zip file extracted, and then the links will work. There's also another question saying it's not working. In most cases, we've found that once it is unzipped and saved to the desktop and opened with either Chrome or Adobe, that those links will work. If you're still experiencing issues, please feel free to reach out to our support teams. Obviously, first go to class if you're using the Workpapers Lite version. Reach out to the class support team and they will be able to help you. And then if they attach an Excel spreadsheet as a work paper to an account, change the Excel spreadsheet. Do I need to reattach the new, or will it update itself?
Yeah, at the moment, you will need to just change it and re-upload it. But by next year, we'll have a integration where you can open, edit, and close Microsoft Office documents, i.e. Word, Excel, directly from Cloudoffis without having to sort of go out and save it and re-upload it. So we've got a plugin that we're currently working on releasing at the moment.
And one more around the documents. Is there a size limit to the files for the upload? So within the class Workpapers version, there is a 50 megabyte limit per file per year. But in terms of the individual files, to my knowledge, there's no size limit.
So there is a 50 meg limit on the per size of each file, and that's just because of the auto OCR. So if you've got like a huge doc that's, potentially 700 pages or something, it's just going to slow the system down because of the auto OCR. So we do have a slight limit on that.
Yeah, but that won't upload to the class version anyway.
No.
So yeah, we just recommend using smaller documents. It'll speed everything up a little bit too. And yes, Gabrielle, the sorted pro integration with class will be available in the next few weeks. And then you'll be able to use the same tagging functionality from within class.
Yeah, spot on. So just to reiterate that, so if you're not a pro user, go ahead, use class now. It's absolutely fine. But if you are a pro user, if you do save a doc in class and then save a different doc in your pro version, they currently won't speak to each other. Okay, but that will be integrated in the next little bit. And on top of that, and even for the light users as well, so if you're getting about Pro for the minute, once you've bookmarked everything that you have in class, you'll be able to share that job with a Cloudoffis auditor and connect that to your Cloudoffis auditor customer portal, which you can get from your auditor in about a month or so as well. So both of those things are currently in development for the second release as part of the Lite product. First and foremost, obviously, we just wanted to get it out there and get it available for use for everybody right now that can just produce the pack. Fees for sorted. So look, it does vary depending on how many funds that you've got. For the pro version, it starts from $42.75 XGST per fund per year. But again, reach out to us and we can talk specifically about your situation and give you pricing accordingly.
And I will post the link in a minute into the channel where you can click. If you cannot see the integrate button in class, we recommend you jump into this landing page, and then you'll be able to contact us, and we'll be able to help you activate that for you. Does that work? Should be able to post that into the browser. Great. So unless there are any further questions, we've got, is there a list of features for the free Workpapers integration option? Yes, through the class user guide, you'll be able to see all the functionality that is available also again. And there's also a video available on YouTube that walks you through all the features that are currently available in the free version. Awesome. Great. Well, thanks everyone for all the awesome questions. It's made this session really nice and interactive. And I'd like to thank you for your attention. And yeah, if you've got any questions, feel free to reach out to either Clint or myself, or our support teams, and we'll be able to help you.
Excellent. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Once again, yeah, Clint at cloudoffis.com.au or sales at cloudoffis.com.au for anything else that you might need from us. Thanks very much.
Thank you.